resonate with his scheme. Maybe you don't resonate with the Bible. Maybe you don't resonate with the religion that strips sincerity out of pews only to collect the deductible on you. I get the history of white men and black women. I get that slave owners were the reason for oppression. I get that Bibles remind you of regression, but you took a piece of the message and made it the whole message.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Level Uploading, Fight Feelings, Face Facts with yours truly, Shay. As you guys can see, I have a special guest today. I have been waiting to get Jam on the podcast, so I'm very excited today. Everybody say, hey Jam. Did you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yes. So my name is JamSpoken. I am a poet, a writer, author, and a mother.
Period.
My real name is Jamila, though. So you can call me that if you like.
Okay.
I have been writing since I was young, but I just recently started doing poetry like the last 2.5 years. And so somewhere between 21, I think that's when I started. So it's about to be 3 years. Yeah, that's kind of about me. You know, that's the brief look.
Okay. So, obviously we met through the Nashville metro area. I know that you're not from Nashville though, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I've been here since 2017, so I think it's like 7 years. Yeah. I've been here for almost 10 years. It seems like the time be flying. Like you said, I feel like I only been here for 4 years or something.
Wow. 7 years. So what made you leave Michigan?
So I wanted a new change. I was going through a divorce. And so I was just like really at my wit's end, and I was like, I never wanted to live there. So when I got 18, I went to college in Chicago, but then I ended up just coming back due to different reasons. And so like I always wanted to like leave and move out of state, but then I feel like God was telling me, you know, like it's time. And so everything went into alignment and God was lining it up. So I just took that walk of faith and came here.
Ooh, girl, the same, absolutely the same. I totally feel you because I've been here since 2020. So okay. I came from Chicago, and I have been wanting to leave for a long time. Like you said, like our families picked this place. I didn't pick this place. You know what I mean? I don't gotta stay here. So I could definitely understand what you're saying. Like sometimes you just need to change the scenery for sure.
Okay, Chicago native. I didn't know you was from Chicago. Oh, so you know about the code.
Yes, I do. I really, really do. I'll try to forget about it if I can.
Do you ever go down there? Do you ever like have that? I know when I first moved here, I always had that like for the first couple years that desire to go back. Like I want to go back home. I miss my family.
Absolutely not. Never. Not even once. They be like, dang, you just, I'm like, I'm going to keep it real with you. I never have. Only reason why I said that is because it was so aligned and it was so just like divinely set out. It's like, what am I going back there for? Like,
okay.
He already set up a place for me. So no, I really did not. I really only have been back home to visit since 2020, probably about 3 times. And 2 of those times was for emergency type situation. Okay. So I need to do better about getting home and visiting and stuff, but I just find so much peace here. So
it is peaceful here.
Yeah, I like the calm, you know. It's a little bit better for me.
Family here? Like, do you have any relatives? Did you come here by yourself?
Oh no, yeah, I came by myself, yeah.
Okay.
That was like really the whole point. Like this is like my exodus.
Okay.
You know, this is me and God's journey. Okay. Me and him is locked in for sure.
Okay.
But enough about me. Okay, so you said that you left. When you were getting that pool, you know, we really like to talk about leveling up, elevation, and things like that. So when you were getting that pool, what was kind of showing you like that you were possibly like outgrowing your environment and your circumstances at that time? I know you said a divorce, but other than that, was there anything that kind of puts you?
I feel like when God is shifting you into a new direction, you operating on your own will no longer work. And so I'm such like a very, very like go-getter, and like I'm very independent. And so like I kind of operate from that place a lot. And I felt like no matter what I was doing, God wouldn't allow it to work. And I think because that was him saying like, you depended on your own will and your own strength for so long. It's time to depend on me. And so like I wouldn't have been able to hear him clearly unless he broke me. And so I had to be in a place of that complete brokenness, which is like surrender. And I feel like that's how I knew it was God, because it's like when I was surrendering, it was I couldn't do it on my own. It was not within my own strength or my own ability.
Yeah. I feel like we sometimes can be such control freaks because the world really cultivates that in you. You know, I'm also a oldest daughter, so that doesn't help things either. But like, the world makes you think that you have to make things happen and that you got to go out and get it. And there's nothing wrong with, faith without works is dead. Nothing wrong with doing stuff. But like you said, when you start operating in your own strength, thinking you can make stuff happen, he has to kind of show you like, hey, I can stop all this. I can stop all of this if I want to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, for sure.
he said, get in line. I love him real bad because he really is so crazy. Like when you said the surrender and being broken, it's like, yeah, we have to get to that point. Like it is a very much needed point because that's when it all starts to go uphill. Usually for the most part, it's still be a battle, but you know what I'm saying.
For sure, it's a journey. It's a life. Like life is. I feel like life is this thing that sometimes we think we gonna have it figured out. And so it's like we always trying to figure out or get ahead of life instead of realizing life is life. And life comes with many seasons. It comes with some seasons going to be this way, some seasons. And it's really no determining what they're going to be. But it's like, I think in that, when you get into that place or that mentality, when you realize life gonna life, you start to understand and how to manage life in a little bit. So
seriously, it's like, I'm going to be okay regardless. And that's what I just always keep that. Like, even in the rough seasons, like, I'm going to be okay. No matter what, God going to get me through this. So, okay. So when you were going through that kind of like that shift, what were you noticing, like from friends, families, people around you, and the spaces that you were in?
Ooh, they didn't like it. When I was, baby, they did not. No, like it took so long, like I didn't even know to the extent until I started having conversations. Like my sister and I was like, "You betrayed us. You left." Like I'm just leaving. But felt
betrayed. You all
betrayed. They felt betrayed. Like I'm like, I didn't betray y'all. I didn't. You know what I mean? But like, you never know or understand the dynamic until you have to separate. When you call to a level of separation, it is really going to show you that I want to be wise in my words. So that's why I'm kind of thinking and then talk. Yeah. But when you going through a season of separation, it's really, I don't want to say lonely, but it's just going to be you and God. And so in that season, everybody that you thought, everything that you was connected to is going to be foreign because you becoming new. And so when people used to an old thing, it's hard for them to resonate with anything that's new or transformed. And so you have to get used to that level of discomfort of not being able to be accepted by everybody, not being able to do the same things, not being able to be thought about the same because you are different. And so, they hated me for it.
Yeah, and I definitely like that consecration period is something that's kind of like that cocoon that the caterpillar goes into. You come out differently, and not to call your family and friends caterpillars, but it's like they might still be, they haven't gone into that cocoon yet. They haven't had their butterfly season just yet. So you don't want to see your cocoon, and you came out with these wings, and they're like, hold on now, you fly, you going to different places, and we can get there, but we still have to crawl a little bit, or we still got some more processing, some more time. So I definitely can relate to that, and I'm glad you did it anyway. Because,
for sure.
Because I'm sure that they are proud of you as they see the changes and things. Now they're like, we're proud.
Took a while for sure, yes.
But it's an adjustment for sure. It's an adjustment.
Yeah.
I think that I mean, going against the grain with your family and your loved ones and just people who have, like you said, seen you a certain type of way, it's not unfair to think that they would be a little bit uncomfortable too. Like, it makes sense because on the flip side, I've been the caterpillar at times in my life before. You know what I mean? I've been the person who felt, well, maybe not that much, but I'm trying to think. Not, am I lying right now, Lord? I don't know. I'm trying to make sure I'm not lying because I honestly have always been kind of like you said, a go getter or just everybody doing this, but I'm gonna do this. I've always kind of been like that, but I do think that there have been times where I have been the stagnant person or the person who just hasn't gotten there yet, you know, in certain areas, and to see people evolving, for me, in the type of relationship that I have with God, I have a personality to be happy for them and to say, oh wow, they can do it, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, or to try to learn from them, or you know, things like that. But everybody is not like that. So people are like, hold on, now you get too big for your britches. You know, what you think you're doing? And I hate that it's like that, but it is a human nature type of thing. You know?
Yeah, it is.
It really is. So we were talking a little bit about your spoken word, that you are a spoken word artist. Do you consider yourself a poet, just a spoken word artist, both, all?
I consider myself all of it. I'm a writer, and so like I think that kind of like, you know, in its full totality. Artist.
Yeah. You was giving me rapper vibes the other day. I'm like, this girl is doing all. Okay, listen.
I do like rap. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like for me, you know, a lot of people, what I'm realizing, like doing poetry or spoken word, a lot of the people, they had a back history of like they love for poetry. The thing about me, I don't have a love for poetry. I had a love for rap, and so for some reason, I guess I just became a poet. But it's like, really, I don't know a lot about poets. I didn't study poetry books. I didn't read poetry books. I don't know all of the stuff that a lot of poets know, or that they kind of like was their beginning. Mine was like music. I just always had this love for music and lyricism. And so I guess within that, and I've been a writer, so I used to like to just write stories. And so within my love for lyricism and music, I think spoken word kind of was birthed. So I wouldn't say that I don't really have the same foundation as a lot of poets have.
So you're not like study. You know how some of them, they know all the
they know
everything.
everything.
I'll be like, I know how to make a stanza and a haiku. Okay.
I know how to write. That's how I know. That's how I know it's a gift, though, because this one, I don't know if you know him. He a poet, Black Chakra. You know him? Have you ever heard of him?
No.
Okay, so he a poet out of Baltimore, and he was on the podcast, and he said something so profound to me because it kind of like helped me realize something about myself. And so he was saying that there's two type of people that do like spoken word art. He's like, it's the people that is just automatically, they do it and they know how to do it, and they don't have a definition for know how to do it. They naturally just know how to write metaphors. They wasn't taught how to do any of these things. But then it's the people who study, and he's saying he's so good because he studied. But then on the opposite is me. I'm the opposite of him. I never had to study. I didn't even realize what I was doing, writing double entendres and stuff like. I didn't have the correct verbiage for what I was doing, but I naturally do it. So it's like, I know that's the gift from God, like when you operate.
Yes, for sure. And I remember the first time that I saw you was at Poets Playground in Island Vibes. Okay. And first of all, let me just say, I did not know, this was my first time seeing you. I had been pretty familiar with all the other, poets. And you were sitting next to me, and they were having a let's play moment, and out of nowhere, you just started going ham. Like, I'm thinking you're just a guest, you watching the show like me. And next thing I know, I'm talking about going ham. I was like, wow. But it was so profound, and it had so many, like, jewels. Every time that you speak, I feel like there's some jewels that have been coming. So that, to me, is definitely a gift from the Holy Spirit. And I think that is amazing. I hope you never lose that, ever.
Yes,
ever.
Never. I pray I never lose.
Do you plan on, I've been seeing you everywhere. Like, what are some of the latest things that you've kind of done?
So I have been just a lot working on. I've been writing a lot, so I like to just be posting. Like that's kind of just like my personal. I'm writing, my practicing, and I'm getting it out. But I do have some goals set for like spoken word or whatever. I say I have. I'm trying to work on my album, and so I'm going to be having a poetry album that I'm going to submit for the Grammys. So I'm going to be working on that hopefully soon. I'm not gonna say I'm not giving myself a deadline because I'm not rushing it. And so I know some people trying to submit for the Grammys that's coming up next year. I don't know, maybe, maybe not. Just depends. But what I'm working on right now is a devotional, and so like
Okay.
I'm starting in. Well, I guess now we can say it. So probably in May, I'm going to be releasing. I'm going to be have a grand open for my nonprofit that I just started. It's called Reseed Transform from Within, and so the nonprofit is the focus is to help people on financial coaching, mental health, so like expressive art therapy. That's kind of like my background and my degree, and then it's
Okay.
going to be like also creative workshops and poetry, and so it's got an element of all three. And so I will like that's right now. That's where my heart and everything is. I feel like so I feel different a lot of times. I don't know. It's hard sometimes to pinpoint where my mind be. But I feel like so for me, I think God has gifted me with the gift of words, but I don't always feel like I feel like sometimes I always lead with that, but I feel like God has called me to be like he gave me this gift of revelation. So I'm a teacher. I feel like that's my gift. And so I use everything to teach. And right now, my main source of teaching or edification is probably through like my spoken word and through poetry. But I feel like the gift in itself, the main thing that God called me to is a teacher. That's like beyond anything. Like everything else is a tool. Okay, I do
Yeah.
spoken word. That's a tool. But God has really called me to the gift of the prophetic and the gift of teaching. And so, like, I feel like that's where I'm gonna be honing in on lately, and it's just trying to use that to captivate my audience or whoever, you know. And so, like, that's where I'm
That's
at.
yeah, definitely like you said, a tool just to kind of get the eyes on you, and then when the eyes get on you, take off. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I can definitely see that for sure. I
Yeah,
definitely can see that just off of the things that you post and things that you say. I can definitely tell that there's more behind it. Don't get me wrong, everything you say is usually pretty deep,
yeah,
but I know that there's even more that you have not even released yet. So I'm
yeah,
glad that it's a slow burn, and that's another way that you can kind of know that it's God in a sense, because I feel like He doesn't rush. Like, you know how some people
that's
are like
good.
one hit wonders, or they're like they give it their all, and then that's like nothing but downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
God is like that slow burn. Like, it's just like you ease into your greatness, and you work for it, and you know, go through the trials, the tribulations, the errors,
Mm-hmm.
the failures, the disappointments, but it all is going to make you stronger. Like, that just this just hit me when David, sorry, I'm not gonna make no Bible study, but when
No,
David was
girl, I like Bible study. I like we could talk Bible.
you know, when David was, you know, he was killing lions, tigers, and bears, you know,
Hmm.
leading up to his big finale, well, at least the main one,
Yeah,
when he was
yeah,
just a small boy to be able to defeat a giant. So it's
yeah.
like God slowly gets you there. He doesn't just put you out there and say, okay, kill this giant. He's like, no, I'm gonna put this bear in front of you. No, I'm gonna put this lion in front of you. I'm gonna let you get your strength and let you get your
Mm.
momentum going, so that when it is time for Goliath to come talking mess, you can handle it, and you'll know the techniques and the tools with me behind you. So I'm thinking that is definitely going to be something amazing, and I'm going to keep you in my prayers for all of the
Thank
amazing
you.
things that you want to do with your poetry, but especially for the things you want to do for the glorification of God,
Yeah, yeah.
because that's what really matters at the end of the day.
That's all that
You
matters.
know what I'm
That's all
saying?
that matters. That's
That's
all that
all
matters.
that matters, exactly. So I
Yeah.
did see that you had something going on with that you were trying to do. I think on Thursdays, mental health, something
Okay.
something. Was that with the nonprofit or?
So no, that just came from me. I've been
Oh,
like just from talking to people and just realizing like the need. I used to do like different things like that. So I used to work at a mental health facility. I've been
okay.
doing that, but I recently quit my job to go be a full time artist. And so I still got that passion in my heart to do it, but it's like I'm have to learn how to balance it because sometimes it can be too heavy, and then I'll be pouring and pouring and pouring, and then
And
I'll be
nothing.
depleted. And so I'm trying to learn how to have balance. So I stopped for a while being so engaging in other people's issues and stuff. But I just felt like the need of just stuff that's happening around me that like people be going through something they don't really have nobody to talk to. And so since God has granted me with the gift of time from not having to be at a full-time job all the time. Even though I'm working, it's like I still have more time than most people. And
Right.
so I want to be able to just give people that. And so just, it don't even got to be about nothing. They can talk about the birds, something on the curtain, just for even if they just feel like they need a friend. I want to position myself to serve in that type of way.
Yeah, that's excellent. I thought that was a really good idea because, like you said, we don't know until it's too late. Sometimes how heavy some people are. They're holding these burdens. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's actually pretty scary. But I mean, the fact that you're actually willing to use your time, because time is our most expensive commodity. We can never get it back. So the fact that you are willing to devote your time in that way, it definitely just speaks to your heart. So I think that's, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that you're a mother. How are you balancing all of this with motherhood and all of the different ventures that you're doing, and with your entrepreneurship, your spoken word, your ministries, your nonprofit? How do you balance it all?
Ooh, it's hard to balance. I
Listen,
think
it's just me and it's hard, so I just need to know how's you doing it, Mama.
I think that now my kids are a little more self-sufficient and older.
Okay.
It takes off the load that it used to be. Like it used to be very, very hard because it's like now they need me to do everything from, I still got to feed them and stuff, but you know what I'm saying? Like they're self-sufficient. I can take their clothes out and they can get them on themselves. They
You
can,
so
you know
much
what I'm
you
saying?
gotta
Like,
feed them. I still gotta feed them.
but before I had to cook the food and feed them. You feel me? So that
Yeah.
was double the job. So sometimes I might not cook and they'd be like going there and get something to eat and they know how to fix it themselves. So they at that stage where I thought I never used to get there. My friend she used to be where I'm at now, and I used to be on the other side because my kids were babies, and she used to just be like, she used to always just say this little thing to me like, dance, champs, dance, like, because that's what her pastor used to say to her. Because it was so hard. It really was. I think that was the hardest probably thing I ever had to go through in my life. Being a mother and being able to have to steward individuals and people and take care of them in such a way. Because it's like, it's one thing to be able to have to steward yourself and, like you said, and take care of yourself. But it's another thing when God has granted you responsibility over a whole nother person. And you want to make sure that you're doing it right. And so in this season, I feel like the grace of God, for first of all, like not just in my own God's grace, because they still good on my nerves, but I manage I manage it. I feel like I incorporate them into my life. Like I take them with me sometimes when I'm able to at certain poetry venues. So my daughter, she get to just record my videos and be there, and you know what I'm saying. So it's like I can include them in my endeavors, and so I be making different stuff, bracelets and candles, and so I can use that as a way. I'm still getting my stuff done for my business, but then I'm spending time with my kids because now they want to help me, and so like I think like that's how I navigate it.
That's good. That's really smart. I mean, get a little free child labor. Get a little free child labor, get your stuff done. Win-win. It's a win-win. No, but seriously though, I do think that that's dope, especially letting your girls see you. What's the word that I'm trying to look for? Emote. Like letting them see you have emotions, letting them see you have feelings, letting them see you have good days, bad days, letting them see you be bold, letting them see you be nervous and still do it. Like those are all things that we need to see. I think that sometimes, let me just speak for myself. Sometimes I could think about my mother back then as the superwoman who never did these things and she never did this. But it's like, I kind of did need to see the struggle. I kind of did need to see the humanness. So I think it's really dope
Wow.
that, that you are showing them that you are a mom, you are a super mom, you are making it work, but you also
Yeah.
are human. So that's dope. I
Yeah.
like it. All right, so you already kind of told us what you're going to be doing next. So my last and final question. Any words of advice for anybody who is trying to elevate, level up, grow?
Mommy.
Go out.
Okay.
So cute. So,
You see?
okay. So we almost done, girl.
Listen, okay. What was the question? I got it straight.
Yeah. What's any advice for anybody that's leveling up? Anybody that is trying to elevate, grow? What's some words of advice from you that could help them on their journey?
Okay, so this was in my spirit because that's why I was trying to look it up. This verse was in my spirit.
Okay. We love a verse now. I'm gonna put it on the screen.
Okay. It say, therefore, this Isaiah 28:16.
Okay.
Therefore, thus says the Lord God, behold, I am the one who has laid a foundation in Zion, a stone, a tested stone, a precious cornerstone for a sure foundation. Whoever believes will not be in haste. And so I think elevation comes when you understand the foundation. Like, you can't build on anything that's not sure. And so, like, you only can elevate when you have the capacity, the foundation is strong enough to keep adding to. And so I feel like for a person to want to be able to build, they got to understand what they building on. So I feel like if I can give any advice, it would be to spend time within yourself, become self-aware, feed yourself spiritually so that you can have a sure foundation. Get aware with your motives, get aware with how you behave in different situations. I feel like to govern yourself and allow God to speak is the most thing when it comes to elevation. Because it's like you see a lot of people, they have a lot of things, but how do we define elevation? What do elevation looks like to us? And so you have to know yourself well enough to say, like, so for me, I feel like when I was younger, I always was like the odd little child in my family. And so I always had these great, great dreams. And so I always wanted all these things out of life. You know, I still want them. But it's like I started achieving them and getting them, and nothing about them was fulfilling. And so after the degree, what was after the degree? You know, we did all that to get a degree, and then the degree was the degree. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's like it's only moment satisfaction. And so it's like I had to learn and get to a place where I realized, like, okay, what do elevation really look like to me? What does success look like to me? And so y'all might have seen me doing poetry in 2021, but I took like a whole 6-7 months off because I feel like God was dealing with me on the fact of those things. Okay, you can achieve all these things, you can get all this recognition, you can get all the awards in the world, but what does elevation truly look like? And so I began to define what that looked like for me, and that was just being at peace. It was being at joy. It was being able to be a present mother. You know what I'm saying? Like all of these things that I feel like sometimes you don't get to get. And then the verse says, which really stuck out to me when I was studying it, it said that when you have this foundation, you will not be in haste, which is urgency. And so a lot of times people trying to build real fast. And it's because they think that the foundation don't last. They don't really have a strong one. But when you know that the foundation is sure, that you don't have to do anything, that it's not really you that get an increase, but it's God, because it said that, you know, one plant, one water, but it's God to get an increase. And so it's like I operate from a different place. And so it's like I'm always trying to just look within myself a lot of times. Don't get me wrong, I be in my flesh. I be in it. And I have my
we do it. We gotta fight it.
And so like sometimes I can be seeking validation through a thing and not realize it, or looking for fulfillment through things that really ain't gonna fulfill me. But then it's like I'm always reminded, I feel like God, that thorn, you know, with God, when they talk about that thorn, like God to keep, everybody got their own one. I know what mine is, but I feel like God to keep it there to ground me and to remind me, okay, what elevation looks like. And so I say, like I said, the first thing I say, figure out your foundation, become aware of what you want, get to know yourself a little better. And then when you start seeing God elevation, always give him the glory for what it is that he has done in your life.
Yes, definitely. And that selfish ambition is something that I know myself I have to always keep in check, because it's like, okay, why are you doing this? Is this for that, or is it, you know what I mean? Like, what is the motive behind this? Like, it looks like this, but what's the motive behind it? So I always have to keep myself in check. That, like you said, that flesh rises up sometimes and wants that accolades. Like, no, baby, it's not about you. Not about you. You good, you great, you cool, but it's not about you. So I definitely understand.
Yes.
Well, is there any parting words, anything else that you would like to say? I think this was an excellent episode for sure. So many jewels, man. I knew that was going to happen anyway, but still.
It was definitely good. I feel like it went by fast. I didn't even realize it. I really, just to edify you, I really feel like when I first seen you, it was like this connection, but then it's like following you as a believer in Christ. I feel like what I just want to say is like, I want to thank you that you create a room in which a person can be a believer or not a believer, but you create this space in which is comfortable, that a person feels like they can operate from the place of themselves. And so it's like, sometimes, you know, I've had dealing with things with my own spiritual walk. I'm very like, sometimes I be kind of wishy-washy of what do I want to do because of it. But it was like, I feel like with you held space for wherever that I was, and that there was no qualification for me to perform or to be anything. And I think that's so important when it comes to like outreach and ministry, because you might meet all types of people in this field of work. And, you know, but to be able to have that spirit of acceptance, I think, you know, I just want to say I thank you for that, for holding space for me.
Well, thank you. I definitely, when we first met, I was not fully in my walk as like I should have been. So you've watched me, just like I've been watching you grow. You watching me grow. We just gonna keep on growing and growing and growing. And that's just that on that. Well, on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and end this episode. Thank you so much for your kind words, your time, your energy, all of that. And that is the end of the episode, guys. Bye.
My feet were walking on cracks if you will never make it. Horror stories turn freak show into isolated thoughts to torture my belief in the cross. Yes, my commitment to martyr closed doors with closed fists. I not caught them. They don't want me here. Faced with two thoughts like the two thieves on the days of crucifixion. Save yourself and us. I just remember me when your kingdom come. They don't believe kingdoms come around twice, so they try to alienate king from Christ, hoping I'm a Peter and deny you twice like you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Like when my gym shoes had holes that were holier than you didn't cause them to walk on water. I guess the jungle wants to exclude the line of Judah like the tribe of Judah ain't black. I guess black is only enough when the crucifixion ends with Martin. So I guess I doctor up Trayvon and Jesus and declare world peace while in pieces I was found. Not by the sound of judgment, but grace. I remember coming to the end of myself, begging for the end of myself, only to find out I don't end in myself. Maybe you don't resonate with his scheme. Maybe you don't resonate with the Bible. Maybe you don't resonate with the religion that strips sincerity out of pews only to collect the deductible on you. I get the history of white men and black women. I get that slave owners were the reason for oppression. I get that Bibles remind you of regression, but you took a piece of the message and made it the whole message. What if I took a piece of your life, paint a picture of you in one season, hung it up for the world to see? How would you be viewed? Would it be skewed? Adding false pieces of particles to sum up your story. With a combustion, we call that a chemical reaction. Reactionary tales without internalizing the principles. Misinterpretation at its finest. The primus of states cannot be ate raw, but if you like it well done, I'm about to turn the heat up. So eat up like the flesh of his body, bearing you his body. Got body like mother. Like how can you not relate to sacrifice like you ain't have a mother? Synonym for Christ, synonym for Christos, anointed one, for living a life for something bigger than you, for prophesy. I know pastors be prophesying and poets be prophet trying to act like the Bible ain't real, like words don't heal, but always speaking on self-affirmation like that principle is not in the Bible. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, and you should eat the fruit thereof. I guess that principle came from you, and all that will remain will be faith, hope, and love, like how you love your mother. And how I love my brother. And the greatest of these is love. That's why we grieve so hard when we part. Our hearts are remembering the love. How dare they deny him king of the jungle, like he didn't rumble with my pain. Cactus full of hate in my soul, never fumbled in his name. They asked me who was king, I replied, the lion that was slain. I wondered what I was going to call this poem, call it King of the Jungle. Then I thought about the blood, so I call it Nipsey's Hustle.